What's up guys, Mike here, the Detroit Borg, and welcome to my 500th video on YouTube. This is kind of a big milestone video for me, so I thought I'd take this time to do something a little different and connect with the audience that has supported me along this journey. Now, I review a lot of computers, tablets, phones, accessories, and that sort of thing on this channel, and the question I get a lot from people is what do I actually use and what do I personally prefer? So in this video, we're going to go through my favorite tech. Now, first up is my favorite camera, which right now is my Nikon D600 DSLR. This is a full frame sensor. Now, I'm not a photographer by any means, but I take lots of photographs of everything I do, everything I buy. And the Nikon D600 has lots of manual controls, so I'm able to adjust the camera really quickly. I'm able to take photographs really quickly under all scenarios. And I travel fairly light with this camera. I don't have a huge library of lenses. I basically carry around a 24 to 85 millimeter kit lens. This is a good walk around lens. I'm able to get most shots with that lens. And then I have a hand strap. So instead of using a lanyard or a shoulder strap, I prefer a hand strap because I prefer to carry the camera around in my hand so it's always at the ready. And then I have a Nikon Speedlight SB400 attached. This allows me to change the angle of the light so I can bounce the flash off the ceiling to get a more even, more natural fill light, which works very well. I basically consider this essential equipment, and I've had this for years. In fact, I reviewed it many years ago on my YouTube channel, and it's been attached to many cameras since then, so that gives you a testament of just how good that Speedlight has been to me. Now, I do not use my DSLR for video production. Instead, I use a dedicated camcorder, which I think is a lot more flexible and a lot more responsive for my live video style. A DSLR requires just too much setup, and it's never really worked out for me. So in this case, I'm using a Sony FDR AX100 4K Handycam. That's my next favorite item on this list here. And that is responsible for bringing 4K content to this YouTube channel this year. So 4K video is great if you can watch 4K, but this camera has also brought much better optics, much better image processing. It's given me manual control over focus, exposure, and white balance, so I'm able to improve the quality of my video, not just increase resolution. It's also freed me up to add a lot more shots to my videos. So I'm able to add a lot more visual interest to my videos in addition to all the talking I do in my very long reviews. Now, to view and edit all those high-resolution DSLR images and 4K video, you need a computer that can keep up with it, and Apple really delivered on my next favorite item, which is the iMac with 5K Retina display. So I reviewed this extensively in a previous video, so if you want to check that out, I will have a link in the description below. But that stunning display is not only great for previewing 4K video in full resolution while still having room for the full video editor, it's also great for editing and viewing high-resolution photos and rendering pin-sharp text on the website. So it's a pleasure to sit behind this computer and read text for extended periods of time. And then we have that Core i7 clocked at 4 GHz, so this computer zaps through my massive 4K video exports far quicker than my Mac Pro ever did. Next up is the iPhone 6 Plus, which is a phone I often consider my daily driver, even if I'm testing and reviewing other phones. The 6 Plus finally brings a large, high-quality screen to the iPhone lineup, and the iPhone 6 just gets all the core features right, with an excellent battery life, a bright, high-resolution display that looks great in all conditions, a completely foolproof camera with optical image stabilization that delivers excellent images and video in any conditions with absolutely no fuss, and it does all of it in a thin, lightweight, precision-made device that never fails to impress me every time I use it. So although I use a lot of phones, the iPhone 6 Plus remains my favorite overall. Now, of course, I'm also a big fan of Android and Google, so my go-to Android phone is the Nexus 6, with that large QHD display, loud front-facing stereo speakers, powerful internal specs, and a capable camera with optical image stabilization and 4K video recording, which the iPhone does not do. Now, it's not the perfect hardware. The display is a little dim and off color. The camera overexposes, and battery life isn't the best, but ultimately hardware is secondary to the software, which is running Android 5.0, stock Android 5.0, which is easily my favorite mobile OS with a combination of clever features and smart-looking design that operates smoothly, quickly, and intuitively. Android is at its best when it's stock, and the Nexus 6 is the best Android phone for me, hands down. Now, generally speaking, I do not use a tablet very frequently, but when I do, I use the iPad Air 2. Of course, this is all new for 2014, and it's a major update. It's now much thinner and lighter than before, still retaining a nice rigid metal construction. We have a display that's laminated to the glass so the display looks better, and we have an anti-reflective coating, which means this tablet can be used in more lighting conditions. The speaker is louder, the processor is much more powerful, and we have 2 gigs of RAM instead of 1 gig of RAM, which does help. And the iPad still has the largest selection of tablet-optimized apps on the market today, so for me, the iPad Air 2 remains the perfect tablet to get. Now, my go-to Android tablet is the Nexus 9 despite its hardware problems, as you saw in my review, or the Samsung Tab S, the larger one, the 10.5-inch, which has a stunning Super AMOLED display. It's definitely great for watching movies. Now, when it comes to laptops, I have a lot to pick from. I have 2 MacBook Airs and 2 MacBook Pros with Retina display, and then I have the Chromebook Pixel, which I actually really like. But the computer I use the most, the one I seem to grab, is the 13-inch MacBook Pro with Retina display. It's the right size, it's not too big, not too heavy, it's nice and compact with excellent battery life and that beautiful display, and it's perfect for what I need. I mostly use it for word processing, replying to emails, or doing research on the web. I don't use it for video editing or anything like that. It's just used as a casual computer. And generally speaking, it's the MacBook I recommend the most to people. Now, in terms of set-top boxes, I prefer the Apple TV, mostly because I've purchased a lot of content on iTunes and I can't take that over to one of the other players. But basically, every other player out there, especially the Nexus player, has a better interface with voice search. And fortunately, the Apple TV interface is extremely dated, so hopefully we'll see a major update to this product in the future. But one of the other major reasons I use the Apple TV is because it works with infrared remote controllers. And that takes me to my next favorite item, which is the Logitech Harmony Ultimate Universal Remote Controller, which controls all my AV equipment. So I have a nice home theater setup, and I like to have a universal remote that controls it all so I don't have to fumble with remote controls. Now, next up is the Moto 360, which is easily my favorite smartwatch on the market today, and I've reviewed just about all of them. And I'm a big fan of smartwatches. I've always been a big fan since they first came out. It's really nice to have your notifications right on your wrist without having to dig your phone out, especially if you receive a lot of notifications like I do. And it's pretty hard to determine what notification is important or not based on the tone or the vibration in your pocket. So for me, having a smartwatch on your wrist is a huge deal. And the Moto 360 just has this otherworldly design to it with that edge-to-edge circular display, which is much larger than other smartwatches. And it has a nice elegant design with that simple metal construction with the beveled glass edge. For me, it's definitely the best looking smartwatch out there by far. Now, when it comes to headphones, there are different headphones for different situations. So for monitoring audio for video editing, I prefer my Audio-Technica ATH M50X. Now, for walking around and listening to music or podcasts, I prefer the Bose On-Ears or the Bowers & Wilkins P5s, which both provide clear dynamic audio in a nice lightweight package with good noise isolation. Now, when it comes to in-ear style headphones, I actually prefer the EarPods. They sound great without having to form a perfect seal around your ear, which for me never works. They're never comfortable, they always fall out, and I never find the right fit. So I've given up on in-ear style headphones other than the EarPods. So of course the EarPods don't provide any noise isolation, but they sound great. And the other pieces of tech important to my life are the Nest thermostat and my Hue light bulbs. And as you can see, the apps for those devices are front and center on every home screen on my devices. Alrighty guys, so that's gonna do for me in this video. Hope you enjoyed it. Please let me know in the comment section below, and this is something I may continue to do as a series in the future. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you again in the next video.